Thank you, John. Right, I'm here to talk about Mattison's Refrigerators, which, as John said, is the #1 meat snacking brand in the UK, and it's a very successful brand within Kerry Foods. Now, just before I start, can I have a quick show of hands if anyone's actually heard of Mattison's Refrigerators? Oh, more people than I thought, yay! A few Kerry Foods people at the front. So, I guess Mattison's Refrigerators is a really new brand. It only launched in 2005. But before I start, I'd just like to ask another couple of quick questions from the audience. So who here actually eats meat snacks? Can I have another show of hands? So we've got about 6, 7, 8 people. So we've got another question. Who goes into the fridge and sneaks a little piece of last night's roast, or has a little bit of ham that might be there for the kids' lunches? So pretty much got everyone guilty of that. So that is the exact insight that Mattison's Refrigerators was launched on. So people like to eat meat, and they like to snack on meat, but there really was no meat snacking market in the UK. There were a couple of products out there, but nothing that was fresh and chilled. So this was the insight that Mattison's Refrigerators was born on. So what is Mattison's Refrigerators, for those who haven't seen or tried it before? It is a little chicken snack that is basically 100% chicken breast, and they're seasoned pieces, approximately 5 grams each, roughly half your little finger. So a really convenient snack. So looking at refrigerators today, we're worth 40 million. So launched in 2005. We have 13 SKUs and 13% penetration in the UK. Our target audience is very much focused on teens, and so demographically, it's roughly 13 to 17-year-olds. So today I'm going to talk about how the journey we've been on with refrigerators, particularly focusing on the last 18 months, where we changed our strategy to give our brand a more meaningful role within our consumers' lives. Now, to start off with, I'll talk through a bit of the background and the context of where we found ourselves 18 months ago, what we did, and some of the results that we had. And then a few little things which I've thought about and I think are our biggest learnings from the journey. So this is the position we found ourselves in. Refrigerators was a real little golden child for Kerry Foods UK. Launched in 2005, pretty much doubled in size every year until 2009. Then in 2010 to 11, sales started to plateau. And actually this graph is slightly misleading, because in 2011, even though there is a slight increase, through the back end of the year, we actually started to decline. So it was a bit of a worrying time for the brand. And so what drove this? It started with an increase in raw material costs, which is something I'm sure all of us in this room are familiar with. When raw materials increased, we started to pull back on our marketing communication, and we pulled back on our promotions. And then we saw a drop in retailer confidence. So we found ourselves starting to decline in rate of sale. We lost some listings, especially in a big customer, Sainsbury's. And things started to starting to go downhill for us. And this little picture here is the worried look on our faces at that time. We also had some really key shopper and consumer issues which needed to be fixed. For our shopper mum, she didn't really understand what the benefits were of Mattison's Refrigerators, and she really thought that they actually just looked a bit processed. For our teen audience, he wasn't really sure if the brand was for him. All the communication that we'd done previous to this point was all about talking about what the product was, as it was new into the market. But he didn't really know who it was for. And he wasn't sure how it really fitted into his life. So there's some quite big consumer issues. And internally, we actually started to question whether this little golden child would actually reach its peak. And maybe refrigerators was just going to plateau from there on. So looking back at the situation, a little worried look on our faces, what was the next step for refrigerators? Well, I'm happy to say that this is a good story, and our worried face turned into a smiley face. And from 2013, we're in a really good position, growing at 43%, and almost have doubled since our position in 2011. So what do we do to turn around the brand in such a way? Well, I guess it all started, there's 6 things that I believe really contributed to this turnaround. And the start is business basics. At the point when refrigerators started to plateau, the business could have stepped away from refrigerators and taken resource out, but it actually decided to put resource in. And we developed a very focused team which was over-resourced for the brand size to get the momentum back going. So we actually coined ourselves the Tight Five, and it consisted of myself from the marketing function, 2 salespeople, a category person, and a demand planner. And we were very, very focused on getting refrigerators back into growth. We also looked to reevaluate our pricing strategy and went from a high-low strategy to an EDLP strategy and brought out some new formats. And the final piece, I guess, about business basics is we really worked to improve our retailer engagement. As meat snacking was a not established category, we had to ensure that the retailers knew that we were the leading brand behind this, and we had to sell to them our vision for the category, not just our brand, before we started really pushing our brand even further. We also looked to focus our communication strategy. So we looked at what role our brand best played in people's lives, and we took a two-pronged approach, focusing one area of our communication on our teen audience, and the other area very much on our shopper mum. And even though I'd like to say that marketing contributed to everything, there was a certain element of luck of the Irish which also contributed, which I think when you see the communication that we completed, why there's an element of luck. So we start off the question, so how do we give refrigerators a bigger role in consumers' lives? Well, we need to be clear about what our key product benefit was. So we asked ourselves the question, what does a meat snack solve better than other snacks? And we came to the conclusion that that was hunger. Meat snack has high in protein, so it keeps you fuller for longer than other snacks such as crisps and chocolate. So that really seemed the core of what we could do better. The second question we asked ourselves is, for our consumer group, at what point in the day are they most hungry? So where could our brand fit in? And it was pretty clear to us that that point was after school. And I'm sure all of us here can remember back to our school days and racing home, raiding the fridge, eating as much as you can. And also those who are parents probably remembering stopping their children from eating them out of house and home when they get home from school. So that was the area that we decided to focus our communication. So then we split our plan between our shopper mum and our teen audience, but overlooking the after-school occasion. So for shopper mum, it was about making after-school easier. And for our teen audience, it was very much about being their favourite after-school snack. So two very different strategies, and we had 2 very different ways of going about talking to those audiences. So for mum, we've used traditional media, focusing on TV to drive awareness and relevance, which I'll show you the TV ad after this slide, and looking at outdoor, which was designed, we had 6 sheets designed to remind mum just as she was about to enter store. And we also had at fixture, point of sale, and we linked to key retailer events such as back to school. Now before we play the ad, it is very much a very British ad with some British jokes which I didn't get, and it was quite a hard sell for the advertising agency, and you'll see why, but it's a bit of a surreal twist on the everyday, designed to cut through. So we play the ad.
Marvin. Here you go.
Mattison's Fridge Raiders. 100% seasoned chicken breast for when you're Hank Marvin.
Now, does anyone know what Hank Marvin means? Stubborn. That's something I did get it explained to me. I had no idea a Cockney rhyming thing. But the ad worked extremely well for us, driving rate of sale during the time it was on air by 30%. And it really positioned Mum as the solution seeker for that after-school hunger for when her teen was Hank Marvin. So when it came to teen audience, we really thought about what teens were doing after school, because we knew that to drive our teen audience, we needed to get into their world. So we completed some research, and we found that 61% of teens played video games after school, and 2/3 eat while they play. So our mission was to make Fridge Raiders to gaming what popcorn is to film. Now, getting into a teen audience was never going to be easy, because we couldn't just show up in the gaming communities and say, here we are, the ultimate snack for gamers. We needed an in. So we picked this guy, the Syndicate Project, to help us with phase 1, win kudos. And he was our key influencer. Now, you'll look at him and you'll think, who is Syndicate Project? And I was wondering myself when Sachi and Sachi brought him in. And he looks just like a normal 19-year-old guy. But this guy, he's at the time had 2 million subscribers to his YouTube channel. He now has 5 million subscribers. And he was actually the third most influential person for teen audiences, just under One Direction in the YouTube list, which I did know who One Direction was, so I knew he was a big deal. And so with Syndicate, we partnered with him to create the ultimate gaming accessory. And we basically, I've got a video to talk through the campaign in more detail, but we used him to get his audience to help us co-create a snacking device which would allow you to eat and game at the same time. So would you like to play the video?
This is how air bazookas, robotic arms and desk-mounted cannons help develop the world's first meat snacking helmet. In the UK, 61% of kids play computer games after school. 2/3 eat while they play. But doing both together can be messy and dangerous. To solve this, Fridge Raiders set up MMM3000, a co-creation project to build a device that allows kids to game and snack at the same time. First, we partnered with celebrity gamer Syndicate Project. He acted as our main media channel. Then we asked for ideas for the ultimate snack while you game device. We received over 15,000. Our team of engineers responded. The best ideas were turned into official blueprints, and the really great ones into working prototypes that were then tested out by Syndicate Project. The fans kept suggesting ideas, and we kept them informed with daily updates and videos. After weeks of co-creation, the final design was delivered to Syndicate by the Royal Marines. He then unboxed the MMM3000 to his millions of fans. He loved it, and so did all those that helped create it. In total, we reached 1/3 of all young gamers in the UK who demanded for it to be mass-produced. We totaled 110 million impressions and 3.5 million video views. Sales increased 65%, and for every £1 spent, we generated £5.70 in incremental sales. And made Fridge Raiders the ultimate snack for gamers. Pretty impressive for a meat hat.
So that was a bit of a highlight of what the first part of our campaign and how we connected with Syndicate Project. And he was definitely a key element to the campaign. And if we didn't have him and his audience to start the project with, it definitely wouldn't have been as successful as it was. So a quick overview of their campaign. We had one hub, which is on Facebook. Overall, we had 19 films which were developed. Syndicate produced 5 films of his own and released it on his YouTube channel. We did 111 Facebook posts, which 24 of those were promoted and 22 like ads. And in the end, we produced 2 MMM 3000 helmets. One was a prototype, non-working, and one was a full working, functioning, which was gifted to Syndicate. The second phase of this campaign was to take it to the masses. So we were always a little bit concerned that the gaming area was quite niche. So we needed a way of connecting it back to our shopper mum and really making sure that it drove into sales. So we completed an on-pack promotion, which we had a prize pool of £100 worth of games that you could win every 15 minutes from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. This was a really good success for us, and we had a really good engagement with that. Our third phase was to continue to engage. Now, I've just got a couple of posts on there, and I don't know if you can really read them. But on our Facebook page, we have continuing conversation with our community, which is now 140,000 people. And some of them are focused on the brand, and some of them are more jokes that go with the community. And some of it is the community talking to us. So it's very much an interactive, engaging place. And our role we take is not of a voice of voice of information, but very much just someone who gets our teen audience and puts a few jokes out there for them to respond back and share with their friends. Now, just to talk through how our teen audience responded to the campaign and how they enjoyed it, we've got a third film that will talk to what they think.
Trying to eat whilst gaming.
Obviously, you've got both hands on controller, so you can't reach and get some food at the same time.
I first heard about the competition through Tom Syndicate's vlogs.
Well, he's a British YouTuber. He's just a big inspiration for a lot of people.
They posted up a video. We need your help to make the Ultimate Gaming Peripheral.
Well, it all started obviously with us sending in designs.
They wanted to get the community involved, and I think that made it 10 times better.
And then sent them to Fridge Raiders on the Facebook fan page. Those videos on their YouTube page as well of how they made the prototypes.
And the fact that they actually made all these crazy ideas.
You were testing out all these different concepts of firing Fridge Raiders at people's mouths or flying stuff into them.
My idea was a chest mask, was sort of like a Pez dispenser.
Well, first of all, obviously, Syndicate said sending ideas, and a lot of people did that, and then there was the video of him going to London.
He went down to Firehouse Studios in London, and then he was trying out some of the prototypes, he was giving some feedback.
The amount of design that you actually made was amazing. There was like a hand cannon, there was a Fridge Raider that you could fly, there was like a windmill.
Generally making anything that the audience sent in, even if it was catapulting Fridge Raiders across the room, it was really fun to watch.
Every suggestion they got, they took. Tom said, it's got to look cool. It looked cool. It's got to have a headset made into it. It had a headset made into it. The rumble pack from lights in the back to, how the food goes down. It was all taken on board.
And I had like it was a 6-cylinder cartridge there, put the Fridge Raider in it. And then once you press the pedal on the floor, it's like a piston, isn't it? Yeah. So it comes out from the helmet and drops the Fridge Raider and then you stick your mouth for it.
It was delivered through the army, which is amazing.
Syndicate unboxed it, which was a really awesome video, obviously, when the smoke was coming out and everything. Everyone was asking to buy it.
You've definitely made yourself more popular with people. Now all around the world you've got people asking for you to sell Fridge Raiders in their country. And
really good idea to help gamers design something that could one day in the future actually be something that could be on the market.
I gained some great friends out of this, and that's something I wouldn't change.
One sec, man. I'm just doing the interview.
So you can see our audience definitely had a lot of fun with the campaign, which is great to see. And it's quite interesting now when you look at our page. We've actually got some quite hardcores out there. There's a group of people who've started their own YouTube channel as a result of this campaign, been inspired by Syndicate, inspired by the fact that their ideas actually made it to the blueprint phase and had Syndicate Project, their hero, talking about them. One of the guys in there, Matt, he was a brown-headed guy, he is a huge fan and he's become a real influencer himself for us, which is great to see. So in terms of our brand results, across the last 18 months, we've grown from 26 million to 40 million. Our MM3000 received the highest return on investment for media across the Kerry portfolio in the last 3 years. Our brand awareness and consideration reached a record high with our mum audience. Unfortunately, we've only just started tracking our teen audience, so we couldn't get a read from before and after. But from now on, we will be tracking that. And we've got a community of 147,000 Facebook fans. In terms of the digital campaign, as it is at the moment, and it's still evolving, and you'll see from the video that some of these numbers have increased. So engagement rate is 1.13%, which is well above industry norms of 0.0072. We've had over 126 million Facebook impressions. Our on-pack promotion had 71,000 entries, and we've had 3.2 million video views, which is just a great result and a lot more than we'd ever imagined. And I guess if we think about our key learnings from the last 18 months, I've broken them into 7 key areas. And I guess the first one is to focus your team. To get momentum back into a brand is always really hard. And the Type 5 that I spoke of at the start, we've actually now moved away from that. Because the brand has momentum, we've been able to pull some of that resource back and still maintain it. But it was just getting that point where we needed to get those wheels turning again, that growth back in the brand. And I really believe that having that focused team was key to that. Taking retailers on the journey with you. We really needed a retailer engagement. As a meat snack, we're never going to have as high a rate of sale as a ham. So we needed to ensure that our retailers really believed in the incrementality of the meat snacking category. So it was important that we over-service them. We were in there talking to them more often than we probably deserved to be based on the size of our business. We were ensuring that they were brought on, they knew our category vision and they knew our brand vision. The third thing is to be single-minded. And you'll notice from a lot of our comms, picking something like after school could be seen to some as quite limiting. However, we believe that you're better to stand for something and create a role rather than try and be something for nobody. So that was the position that we took, and you can see that when focusing on gaming as well. And it's pretty obvious that not every team games, but we want to make sure that for that group, we were a big deal to them. Be relevant. So it is really hard these days to be relevant as a brand because, as the Futures Foundation was talking, you are a corporate coming from a corporate voice. So for us, it was really important that when we do speak to our audience, that we speak in a very relevant way, and not in a try-hard teen way, but a way that they get and is a way that is funny to them and interesting and in a way that they want to engage with. A social strategy is more than just a Facebook page. That's one thing is a key element for us. And as a business, we've probably been guilty of the fact that looking at likes is a real indicator of Facebook success. Pushing a lot of media into Facebook to try and win likes. but really having a bigger approach to social and not just having it, like we had ours housed on Facebook, but it obviously had a bigger role across YouTube, there's a role across Twitter, and then it linked very clearly back into our brand with our on-pack. Know who your key influencers are. Having a syndicate project on board was a really key element and really helped us win that kudos with our key audience. And it's really opened our eyes as to how big these influencers are getting on the online community. You know, now that, you know, Syndicate's got 5 million people who subscribe to his channel. It's just extreme. Like some TV networks, you know, aren't even that big. So we've really got to remember that these influencers are out there and the online community is just getting more and more powerful. So they are a very big part of our marketing mix now. And the final thing is to be brave. We took a lot of risks from even the Hank Marvin campaign, going with Cockney rhyming slang, to the MMM 3000 creating a meat snacking helmet. We took those risks to stand out. We are a small brand. We don't have a Coke-sized budgets. So whatever we did do, we had to make sure that it was different. However, we knew that there was a certain amount of risks with anything like that. So we had to be brave, take those risks, and be prepared if they didn't go our way. So that's the journey of Fridge Raiders over the last 18 months. It's been an exciting one, and there's been a lot of different elements, but for us at Kerry Foods, it's definitely housed as our biggest success in the last 2 years. And I hope you gained from hearing a little bit about our journey.